Yeah, you right, Crescent City. Yeah, I don't hear anything here, Jason. You hearing me? Yeah, super low here too. Something must be down. Any way to boost that? I think it's probably something on here that's down. I'll have to work on it later. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you on a Friday afternoon. I don't hear anything, Jason, at all. You got any needles moving? You do? I don't hear a thing. That's terrible. Maybe it's my headphones. We're having technical difficulties. Yeah, well, I don't hear much over that. Listen to that. No, check out up here. I got that thing cranked. Nothing coming out. Check out that master on there, Jason. That thing's off. Yep. Check mic or line on that, maybe. No? Yeah, no, the mic or line level. Was that moved? No? Might want to call him. That's what happens. You bring an engineer into the studio, and there goes the neighborhood. Wait, that sounds a little better. I think I'm hearing something now. I don't know what you just did. What'd you do? Maybe the guy all the way on the right might have helped. I don't know. Let's see. Did that solve it? This is some bad radio on a Friday. Yep. That might have solved it. Yep. There you go. It solved it. Whatever you did. Anyway, the worst opening in radio history, that might have just happened. Technical difficulties in the studio. We're doing our usual thing that we do every single day. I'm like, all right, I don't hear anything, but my headphones could be out. They go out every few years, or somebody might have accidentally popped it, out of, it's not inserted all the way in the little hole, that kind of thing, whatever, something simple or basic. And then I really couldn't hear my voice at all anywhere. And now we're sort of getting it straight a little bit, somewhat, kind of. Anyway, Corey Johnson with you on a Fantasy Friday edition of the show. Yeah, you right. Thanks so much for joining us. Got a good one lined up for you. Another edition of Fridays with Fletch, about 12 minutes away. Fletcher Mackel will join us as always. 5 o'clock power hour on a Friday will truly be that. Frank Brigtsen will join us around 5:20 on the program. I love getting Frank on a Friday, kind of decompress, talk food, what we love in New Orleans. His restaurant's a great launching pad. It's almost 40 years into it, Brigtsens in the Riverbend. He owns it along with his wife. He's the head chef. It's a family affair. I can go on and on and on about that place. You could have Brigtsens in New York, San Francisco, Paris, wherever, and it's going to be excellent. It's going to be one of the best restaurants in that city. No, Frank Brigtsen, 5:20 every Friday. I love that 10, 12 minutes with Frank. Just kind of, like I said, a decompress from LaToya the Destroyer and just nonsense going on. Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans, Inc. in the 5 o'clock powwow around 5:35, and it ain't no jive. Got a lot to discuss with Michael Hecht. Today, I was down at the Sheraton for a late morning kind of brunch. Must have been 60 tables with, 6, 8 people each. So probably a good 250, 300 people, I'm guessing, maybe a little more, including Governor John Bel Edwards. Brandy Christian from the Port of New Orleans was there. It was essentially the Port of New Orleans annual address, talking about the container port in St. Bernard. St. Bernard residents, my God, the opportunity you have right now, the leverage that you have. I mean, a godsend for St. Bernard, this port facility. A few $1 billion of investment, and it's not an expansion of an oil refinery, some petrochemical industry, some polluter. There's no pollution here. It's as green as can be. It's unloading and loading containers off of ships and putting them on trucks, stacking them on the ground before you put them on trucks, putting them on rail. It's as green as it can be. It's going to create jobs directly at that facility, hundreds of jobs for St. Bernard. The Napoleon terminal is not shutting down. That terminal will be operating as well. And the international terminal, as it's called in St. Bernard, will be operating, allowing New Orleans, Metro New Orleans, North Shore, the whole area to compete. If you're a North Shore resident and you live in Mandeville and Covington and you're like, I don't care what the Port of New Orleans says, don't care if they open the container facility, there's something wrong with you. Why did you move to the North Shore? Move farther away. Because exactly how that port facility goes in St. Bernard, goes the Port of New Orleans, goes a big part of the New Orleans economy, including the metro area, including the North Shore. It's just mind-blowing. When Chevron went to the North Shore, I was like, thank God I'm not against that. I'm for that. I hope they continue to expand their campus. It was supposed to be even more jobs than it is presently. I'm a Metro New Orleans guy. I pull for the whole area. I go beyond Metro New Orleans. I-12 going towards Hammond. Hammond lands a car plant. I am freaking out happy, ecstatic. Loving it. In between Hammond and Baton Rouge lands a car plant. I'm freaking out, happy, ecstatic. Are you kidding? So this is about New Orleans, the metro area. I'm St. Bernard Parish. I'm like, my God. Kaiser closing generations ago, 30 years ago, thousands of jobs leaving the parish. Got an industry that's going to come in that's not tank farms and flames going all night and releasing, cancer-causing agents into the air. This is Louisiana. If you live in St. Bernard Parish, you would have to be a fool to think that, oh yeah, all the oil and gas refineries in St. Bernard are following the strict guidelines as far as pollution and discharges and any of that. They're right on top of it. You got to be crazy. This is Louisiana. The oil and gas industry, the chemical industry, they are companies that are from around the country, from around the world. They look at Louisiana behind the scenes, Chalmette, from the Cancer Alley. It's like the toilet to them. They're going to break any rule, anytime, any way they can, and they know they can get away with it in New Orleans. Either in Louisiana, DEQ will look the other way or the fine will be minuscule. No, anytime the weather's right, the current's right, they're discharging over the top. It's not called Cancer Alley for no reason. And if you live in St. Bernard, it's different down here. They follow the rules. You're delusional. You would be silly to think that way. What logic would bring you to that conclusion? Where there's so many examples of logic leading you to, yes, I'm sure they discharge wrong amounts all the time. On their best day, by accident all the time. Please. So no, I'm St. Bernard. I got this green port coming. No, I leverage it. I not only want the road from the port facility to I-510, I want the Florida Avenue Expressway built. I want to get from I-510 to Elysian Fields by the Lowe's, Florida Avenue, Elysian Fields by I-10 and I-610. It's not just about going north out of the parish to evacuate. It's about going in and out of the parish as far as going in and out of New Orleans. I mean, St. Bernard Parish, folks, you deserve an Earhart Expressway that leads in and out of New Orleans for Chalmette, paralleling Judge Perez, St. Bernard Highway, but interstate quality. No, you got leverage. Get the road to the 510 and get the Florida Avenue Expressway too. Corey Johnson with you.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
River Cities Total Maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NOLAAC.com is your cool spot. Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" And he said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a Friday afternoon. Oh, boy. Fletcher Mackel, he's live at some prep stadium, high school stuff, and he has to do a 4:30 live drop on Channel 6, which means we only have like 6 or 7 minutes with him. That's terrible.
It is. I do apologize. I never know when these live shots are going to be, where they're going to put us, and they just seemingly put us where it destroys my my Friday segment with you. I'd like to tell them that's a bad thing, but part of me says kind of a good escape for me. So there you go.
All right. How you doing, Fletch?
I'm good. We're actually here at Haas Memphis Stadium on the West Bank for John Curtis and Carr. It's a beautiful afternoon. My colleague Kendall Duncan is in Tuscaloosa. She just went live for Bama LSU, and then Sharif's back at the Fort covering Saints Bears.
I always have trouble pronouncing that coach's last name. It just doesn't spell right. What is it? Memphis?
Yeah, on the West Bank over here. Memphsas. Memphis. Like, I never know how to say it. Haas Memphis.
Yeah.
Like, how do you, it's just one of those ones like, I mean, since I was a kid, I've known it's like, okay, you've got, like Yenny on the East Bank Stadium, and you've got, Haas Memphis over here, and East Jeff and West Jeff, and there are these big municipal public stadiums. But you're right. Memphis, Memtsas. It doesn't exactly roll off, even for the most eloquent speaker, it doesn't roll off. Then you add in the yattiness of New Orleans, and it's like, yeah, Memphis, so.
Hey, Fletch, tomorrow afternoon, Tulane's at East Carolina. There's no way they overlook this team. I think there's this funk they get in, obviously, right? They score a lot of points in the first half, and then in the second half, they sort of play their opponents sort of even as far as the score. So if they wouldn't have built up the big first half lead, they might not be 7-1. Is that a legitimate problem? And is it just overlooking opponents? And if it is legitimate, how do they fix it?
So we talked to Willie Fritz about it this week, because now it's starting to pop up more times than not. And it's really popped up the last 2 weeks against North Texas and against Rice, two teams that they were clearly better than. And they get up early, like you said, then there's a lull, and those teams get into it, and then Tulane has to grind it out at the end. And they are a more superior team, so they've been able to win. The problem I have, I don't think they're going to have any problems with ECU this weekend. I don't think they're going to overlook them. I don't think this is a trap game. None of that. ECU's bad. Tulane's really good. This is going to be lopsided, in my opinion. But when they play some better teams, like Texas San Antonio is a team that has some talent. FAU is even though their record doesn't always indicate it, they have talent. And then in a conference championship game, Tulane's probably going to get SMU in a conference championship game. If they keep it close, that's one of those things. Keep it close and anything can happen at the end. That's what happened last year against Southern Miss when Tulane had a blemish on their record. Is Southern Miss was not a good team, but Tulane kept them close, and at the end they popped them. And so it is a bit concerning that they get up and then they have to hold off a weaker, inferior opponent. Again, it doesn't concern me right now. It concerns me for the conference championship game, for a big bowl game, maybe at the end of the season when they play Texas San Antonio and they've got some stiffer competition. Willie Fritz said, he goes, look, John Wooden, he talked about John Wooden, that John Wooden after halftime when he was a coach at UCLA would come out and put his team through like an intense warm-up, and nobody did that. Willie Fritz goes, that may be something I do.
Yeah.
When they come out and have an intense warm-up after the first half to kind of refocus them. He goes, we're discussing a lot of different things.
That's smart.
Sure it doesn't happen.
That's a brilliant idea. Hey, tomorrow night, the biggest college football game of the year. For about the last 15 years, year in, year out, on average, Fletch, this has been the premier college football game every year, roughly for the last 15 years. There's no other game you can look at and say it's bigger than this game the last 15 college football seasons.
Yeah, look, LSU-Bama, even though Bama has won 10 of 12, it's a monster game regular season every year. The history of these teams, the matchups they've had, playing in a national championship, the winner once again is probably going to be in the driver's seat to go to the conference championship game. So again, you're right. For the last decade to 15 years, you'd be hard pressed to find a regular season game that had this much pageantry, passion, what it means for each team. It's a big one. Again, even though these teams haven't exactly been back and forth, Bama has won 10 of the last 12.
Yeah, but they're 2-2 the last 4.
Yeah, they're 2-2 in the last 4, sure. But again, there was a streak where Bama won 7 or 8 straight going back to that national championship game in 2011.
Yep.
Yeah.
But still, every year that you can't name another game that's bigger than this, that has bigger implications for potential national title.
No, you're right. I mean, look, this is last year, LSU won this game and it catapulted them all the way, to a strong finish, and they got up to 5 and they had a chance to go and play Georgia with a playoff berth on the line. So, again, the winner of this, if LSU wins, they're going back into the top 10. And if they win out, they're going to have a chance to play Georgia and maybe get into the playoffs.
How does the tiebreaker work? Ole Miss beat LSU, Alabama beat Ole Miss. What if LSU beats Alabama? How does the tiebreaker work?
So technically, and after this, I do apologize, I have to go. Technically, Ole Miss is in the driver's seat right now because LSU, if LSU beats Bama, Ole Miss has already lost to Alabama. And so, but the only thing is Ole Miss is in the driver's seat right now, but they have to play Georgia. So nobody thinks that they're going to.
No, and A&M. And no one thinks they're going to beat Georgia, but I don't understand why they're in the driver's seat if every team would have one loss in the SEC.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I don't know how the tiebreaker works, but it does seem to favor Ole Miss when it's sort of rock, paper, scissors, Everyone's sort of beating everyone, lost everyone, kind of gimmick, whatever. Anyway, sure. Fletch, you have a live shot to do at Channel 6 from Haas, Memphis.
And I will say this as I go, I do think LSU wins tomorrow.
Nice. I like hearing that in a good game. Fletch, thank you.
All right, Core.
That's Fletcher Mackel. You can check him out at Channel 6 doing some live drop from West Jefferson Stadium on DeBest Bank. It is going to be a good one tomorrow night on CBS. 6:45 kickoff, LSU in Tuscaloosa. Alabama's 7-1. LSU is 6-2. LSU SEC loss to Ole Miss. Alabama, no SEC losses. Ole Miss SEC loss. Alabama. If LSU beats Alabama, I'm just wondering why Ole Miss has the tiebreaker advantage. Anyway, it probably does take care of itself with Ole Miss not only having Georgia, which is most likely a loss, but you never know. It's going to be a great game, I would think. Ole Miss will be ready. And Texas A&M. That's another tough one. It's kind of, like I said, basically LSU, Alabama, they control their own destiny. It's sort of win out and you're national champs. Hey, the Saints are in the Dome on Sunday, just what the doctor ordered, the 2-6 Bears. But teams like that, it's like their last gasp. Every game is a playoff game for a 2-6 team. Got to go on a 4-game, 5-game win streak kind of thing. And then even when you do that, you know that you're going to get some losses after that because you just went on a 4 or 5-game win streak. It's just difficult to win in the National Football League. Hey, Lebanon's Cafe is open right now. Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn. That's where Carrollton Avenue is one lane in each direction, in between Claiborne's and the River Bend. Right on the streetcar line, under the oak trees, under the big green awning. The weather's perfect right now outside. What is it, like 71? Something like that. 71 degrees. tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, we wake up till about 60 degrees and it gets to about 75. And it's just going to be sunny and nice all weekend long. 60s and 70s. Yeah, you're right, weather. That's outdoor dining weather at places like Lebanon's Cafe. Lamb chops, 2 Middle Eastern sides, 6 lamb chops. 2 Middle Eastern sides of your choosing, 20-something bucks. Best lamb chop deal anywhere, Lebanon's Cafe. Carrollton at Jeanette, right by the streetcar barn. They're open till 9:30 tonight. Corey Johnson with you on a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. John Bell Edwards said it best today, this morning, at the Sheraton on Canal Street, Port of New Orleans event, kind of their State of the Year address, State of the Port annual address. Brandy Christian, we're going to get her on the program in the next few weeks, director of the Port of New Orleans, talking about the port and just that basic statistics that's been thrown out there for years and years, maybe even decades. For every dollar you invest in a port facility in Louisiana, you get $5 in return. For every dollar you invest in a port facility in Louisiana, you get $5 in return. I mean, all the state should be doing is upgrading port facilities. I think the Biden, trillions of dollar infrastructure, it was like $30 billion for ports. It's either Taiwan or Malaysia. They're building one port that's going to be about $25 billion. Coming right back.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
For over 20 years, serving healthy, fresh, authentic Middle Eastern cuisine, Lebanon's Cafe. In the Carrollton section of Uptown on the streetcar line, Wednesday through Monday, 11 a.m. to 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe. For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. A Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Thanks so much for joining us. Absolutely incredible weather, and it's going to continue through the weekend. Doesn't get much better than what we got going right now. Low 70s, low humidity, sunny. Tomorrow we wake up to 60. Sunday we wake up to about 60. Monday we wake up to about 60. Might hit 75 over the next 3 days. So lots of 60s, low 70s. Get outside and enjoy it. Schedule a golf tee time. Book the tennis courts. Do that outdoor lawn project. Go to the hunting blind. My buddy's going deer hunting this weekend. Getting up early to go do that. Perfect weather for that. Comfortable. Head to the fishing hole. Drop a line in the water. Take a walk in City Park or Audubon Park. World-class parks. Fantastic parks for taking a walk. City Park, Audubon Park. I don't know where you go on vacation and go to another park and go, my God, this park's so much nicer than Audubon or City Park. I can tell you, I'm not the world traveler, but have been beyond the levee system, and I enjoy parks in other cities, just sitting on a bench and taking in the city like I'm a local. Audubon Park and City Park are world class. Get out and walk, jog, do whatever. Get outside and enjoy this weather because it's fantastic. And we just got out of the, months and months of ridiculous heat, including like 4 weeks of the hottest summer we've ever experienced, maybe in New Orleans history. Corey Johnson with you on a Friday. Young's Dry Cleaning's with you. youngsdrycleaning.com. That's the website. Get on their free pickup and delivery list. Find out where a manless locker location might be. Probably right under your nose, like where you work or live. youngsdrycleaning.com. A New Orleans institution since 1940. youngsdrycleaning.com. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. You want to know how big Kim Mulkey is in Baton Rouge? Brand new locker rooms, brand new conference room, everything brand new for the defending national champion Lady Tigers, who had the number one recruiting class. Number one transfer portal. They're the defending national champs, so you already got a bunch of great players already on the team. They're the consensus number one. I mean, Mulkey and Brian Kelly, just different things, different level of success. LSU football was totally broken. They went from arguably the greatest team to ever play in college to 2 500 seasons and 38 scholarship players. I mean, no offense to the old coach. It was like a blueprint on how to crash the stealth bomber, how to destroy the program, literally. Like you couldn't do much worse. LSU Lady Hoops, just sort of mediocre all the time, year in, year out. Nothing Nothing good, not getting great recruits, sort of middle of the road, year in, year out. Kim Mulkey comes in, great recruiting class, transfer portal, just goes to town, wins the national championship. National champs. New facilities. Just amazing. Win the national championship. It's crazy. She gets a new contract, $3.2 million. She was the second highest paid person at LSU. Brian Kelly, $10 million. $3.2 million for Kim Mulkey. She makes twice the salary of LSU head baseball coach Jay Johnson, twice the salary. I mentioned it earlier in the week. Livy Dunn, the LSU gymnast, she's the second highest paid person at LSU. Her NIL money, over $4 million now. She makes more than Kim Mulkey, the ladies basketball coach. But boy, that program, it kind of caught and passed South Carolina and Dawn Staley. Gino Auriemma and UConn kind of just leapfrog past them. Haven't played them yet, but LSU's like the women's college basketball team to beat. They're the consensus number one. They're the one with the loaded roster with all the depth and all Americans, all SEC players, seasoned veterans. This Monday night, you got Monday Night Football. You got a lot of competition on a Monday night. NBA games, wrestling on USA that gets big numbers. TNT isn't putting on an NBA basketball game on Monday night. They're putting on LSU on Monday night. LSU in the national title game last year, they drew a bigger audience than the World Series did this year. On average, and I know Game 5 specifically was 9.2 million for the World Series, 9.9 million for LSU. Ladies National Championship game. Now, if someone told the Ladies National Championship game outdrew like a popular regular season Major League Baseball game, I'd be like, of course. But for it to outdraw a World Series game? No, it just shows you two things: the direction Major League Baseball is going and has been going in, and the direction that women's basketball is going in. Especially LSU, Angel Reese, Kim Mulkey. They've just lifted the whole thing. It's almost Skip Bertman-esque with college baseball 30 years ago. Kim Mulkey's success, Angel Reese's success, LSU's success, the packed PMAC, number 2 sport behind football at LSU now. It's bigger than baseball. It has lifted the entire game. And for TNT, Monday night to have LSU in Colorado, prime time, with so much other stuff going on, tremendous. It's huge. Hey, speaking of the Tigers, Tiger Town, Baton Rouge. Beautiful weather up there. Helm Paint and Decorating, 4 locations in Baton Rouge. That's right. The old Harrison Paint, now redone, beyond freshened up, like expansion, brand new. Helm Paint and Decorating, taking over those 3 Harrison Paint locations, and also another standalone location by exit 166 Highland Road, Perkins Road, right across the street from the Home Depot. They're on Choctaw. Helm Paint and Decorating, 4 Baton Rouge locations. Just like New Orleans and their 7 area locations, Helm Paint and Decorating has free 2-hour delivery anywhere in Metro Baton Rouge, anywhere in Metro New Orleans. Mandeville, Hammond, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, West Bank. Helm's got you covered. Hey, West Baton Rouge too, Port Allen, Bruley, free 2-hour delivery. of those quality Benjamin Moore products. They've been in New Orleans for over 50 years. They're now in Baton Rouge. They're the capital city's paint store. Boom, just like that. Experience it for yourself. 4 area helm paint and decorating locations. Yeah, when you got to paint in Metro New Orleans, when you got to paint in Metro Baton Rouge, do it once. Do it right. Helm paint and decorating. They'll steer you in the right direction, Baton Rouge, folks. Corey Johnson with you on a Fantasy Friday. Fletcher Mackel joined us a few minutes ago. Frank Brigtsen will join us in a few minutes after we get the 5 o'clock power hour going. Michael Hecht is about 45 minutes away. He joins us from Greater New Orleans, Inc. Boy, I thought that was insane. The Israeli military, these killed Hamas fighters, these militants, they're finding the drug Captagon on them, which is this synthetic stimulant, a methamphetamine-like drug. Jihadi drug, Captain Courage, the poor man's cocaine. There are all kind of nicknames for it. Apparently, these Hamas fighters with this martyrdom mentality, this just amps it up, numbs them out, and jacks them up. Numbs them out mentally as far as giving a crap about their life, even more so. Jacks them up where they're relentless, stay up for days, fight, fight, fight. Now, I was watching some, over the last few years, these Hitler, World War II, Germany, these History Channel, Nat Geo, wherever they are. Just interesting, compelling, fact-based, well-written, well-narrated, good video. Some of it even colorized. We talk about Adolf Hitler was like on all kind of drugs. I mean, he'd wake up and just get injections. He was a full-blown drug addict. It isn't even discussed enough. It's sort of like, just an afterthought. Well, that has a lot to do with how he thinks, how he acts, how as the war dragged on and Germany was, his own, generals tried to execute him. But the German soldiers were on basically crystal meth in the 40s. And it kept them up for days. It had them just fight relentlessly.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Ooh, Lord, Lord, that's what I said. Ooh, Lord. Leidenheimer. That's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville, the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, fuller part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at Rouse's.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Yeah, you, right? Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson with you, a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Talking yesterday about a new Causeway bridge. How much of a toll increase would you pay? The toll went up on the Causeway. It's a joke. It really is. We're the throw me something, Mr. City. We like stuff for free. The Causeway Bridge is 24 miles long. It's $3 each way cash, $3. Name me a toll bridge anywhere. I mean, you go to like the Baldwin Expressway, the Beach Expressway to go to Orange Beach, Alabama. What is that, like $4.50 each way? And it's like 4 or 5 miles long, something like that. 8 miles long. And it's on land. It's not over water. That Mid-Bay Bridge to go to Destin, I think that's like $4.50, something like that each way. It's like 3 miles long. But to get you somewhere a lot quicker, the convenience of not having to drive around, you'll pay the premium. And we don't pay a premium. And granted, we drive on some pretty beat up old bridges. I give Carlton Dufresne and the Causeway Commission some credit, although that's a pretty large entity with a lot of money, a lot of police. It's sort of Louisiana-ish. It's like, can't the state police monitor that bridge? Can't the force be smaller? Why so many people working that bridge? It's like its own zip code kind of thing. I give them credit for keeping the 1956 ka-clunk, 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 ka-clunk. A lot of you North Shore folks drive trucks and SUVs. My God, that ride from the North Shore to the South Shore, you just tolerate that? It's got to get old after a while. I mean, in my car, it's a much smoother ride. I've been in an SUV or a truck, and it's so much worse. A lot of folks on the North Shore drive SUVs and trucks. That South Shore journey for 25 minutes, that's harsh. Ka-clong, 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 ka-clong. Just like kidney and liver getting pounded the whole trip. The South Shore to North Shore span circa 1969. It's a little nicer, slightly wider lanes. But those bridges are pretty old and beat up. And the tolls are insanely cheap. With a toll tag, it's $1.70 each way. The Causeway has to be per mile the cheapest toll road or bridge in the United States of America. I don't think there's anything even close. It's obnoxiously low. Now, I asked the question, how much would you pay to cross the lake on a new Causeway bridge? Sort of like New Orleans East to Slidell, like a junior version of the twin span. Not 3 lanes in each direction with 2 big shoulders, essentially like 5 lanes across. But like a junior version of that. 2 big lanes with 1 big shoulder and maybe a small shoulder on one side instead of 5 big lanes across, like maybe 3.5 lanes across as far as width. 2 driving lanes, a big shoulder and like a half shoulder. Big, wide open, jacked up high, brand new. Maybe a faster speed limit, higher speed limit because it's a bigger, wider, safer bridge. No fog or weather shutdowns. Now, I know I-55, we had that fluke. How many times that happened in our lifetime? That just this once-in-a-lifetime fog event coupled with marsh on fire in the area. It was just the perfect storm for that wreck. It's a shame. It's not good, but it's not like shut down the interstate. Then I was thinking about what would you pay for a new Causeway, like a toll? And right now it's $6 cash, $3.40 if you have the toll tag. It would have to be about 3 or 4 times that amount if it were a new bridge. So instead of $6 cash, it'd be like $18 to $24 cash to cross. And then instead of $3.40 on a toll tag, it'd be like $12 to $13, maybe $14 on the toll tag. Like $12 to $14 on a toll tag, $18 to $24 cash. And it would be a brand new Causeway, state-of-the-art bridge like New Orleans East to Slidell, just a little smaller, 2 lanes instead of 3. I don't think anyone anywhere in Metro New Orleans would take that deal right now. The 2 Causeway bridges, poof, disappear. 2 brand new ones appear tomorrow, but the toll goes up 3-4 times. Instead of $3.40 toll tag, it's $12. Instead of $6 cash, it's $18 or $20. No one anywhere would take that. I would take that deal. And I don't have disposable income. I'm not rich or wealthy. I'm not poor. I do okay. If I lived on the North Shore, I'd take that deal to drive on a brand new bridge every day. I would just factor it in. It's going to be about 50 more bucks, a couple $100 a month. It's going to run me a couple $1,000 more a year. Is it worth paying? Not more, a couple $1,000 total compared to, whatever you're paying right now, $600-700 a year. I would do it to be on a bigger, taller, safer, state-of-the-art bridge that never shuts down, where there's never a convoy. But I would say I'm not 1%. I'm one of like 38 people out of 1.3 million. But you get what you pay for. And that's why it's $1.70 each way. And that's why it's ka-clunk, 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 ka-clunk. And that's why we ride on an era circa 1956. Like the Korean War just ended. What's that, Blue Boy? Blockbuster 5 o'clock powwow. Frank Brigtsen leads things off from his restaurant. Michael Hecht with some good economic news. Wow, you're right, Blue Boy. 5 o'clock powwow, a Fantasy Friday next.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 5 p.m.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson.
Susan Spicer joining us on the program.
Even when they presented me the award, the people that I look up to the most, Frank was there and Donald Link was there. It does cause you to reflect back and think about your whole career.
Maybe the Stella Brennan Award says that to you, like I've arrived.
It certainly is kind of the ultimate honor when it comes to cooking and hospitality in New Orleans and the world.
New Orleans style talk gumbo, served daily.
Doesn't get much better than that, huh?
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
That sounds like the 5 o'clock whistle to me. Some folks would say that's the Flintstones. I heard a 5 o'clock whistle. I'm looking at the clock. It's a little bit after 5. I'm looking at the calendar. It's a Friday. Come on, a little deductive reasoning. I heard a 5 o'clock type whistle. It's a little after 5. It's Fantasy Friday. It's got to be the 5 o'clock whistle on the neutral ground. There's Drew Brees. It's all making sense now. Yeah, you right. A Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Corey Johnson back at you all the way till 6 o'clock. Hey, television audience, we roll till 5:30. You figured that one out, I know. 4 to 5:30 on Cox Channel 4, on Spectrum Channel 333. Now, you can always check us out, The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson, on YouTube till 6 o'clock. After we say bye-bye on television at 5:30 statewide, check us out on YouTube. The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson. Click to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Watch us till 6 p.m. Check us out on the radio. Oh, so fine, 93.9 FM. Oh, so fine, 93.9 FM till 6 o'clock. CareTalks.com, our website. Corey spelled Kaare. Kaare. CareTalks.com, live streaming. You can email us, Corey@CareTalks.com. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Yeah, you right. Frank Brigtsen, just a few minutes away. James Beard Award-winning chef, just a great, humble New Orleanian. Yaddy guy, good guy. You'd never think he's one of the world's best chefs. He's going to join us in a few minutes, as always, on a Friday. In about 30 minutes, less than that, actually, 25 minutes, Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans, Inc. Michael Hecht, Greater New Orleans, Inc., joining us in a few minutes. That segment's always brought to you by Latrim, the global manufacturing giant. That's hiring, by the way. Go to latrim.com. Latrim spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M for a full listing of positions available. Dozens and dozens and dozens of jobs available right now on that website. What are you waiting for? Might be a new career. Latrim.com. Yeah, Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans, Inc. in a few minutes. That segment's always brought to you by Latrim.com. It is a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. It is a little bit after 5 o'clock. What a weekend we have in front of us. The weather couldn't get any better. We're going to wake up every day, tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, Monday morning, about 60 degrees when you wake up. And then it's going to creep up to a whopping 75 maybe for the daytime high. Just absolutely outstanding weather. Tough to beat. Get outside and enjoy it. And what a weekend as far as sports. Tomorrow at 2:30, Tulane at East Carolina. The Wave trying to get to 8 wins. They're 7-1. They're 21st ranked. They control their own destiny. Win out, and they go to a New Year's Six bowl game for the second year in a row. Historic type stuff for Willie Fritz's Green Wave. More notoriety, more coverage, more Tulane, more New Orleans, more student enrollment, better football program. It just keeps going and going. Coach Fritz and President Fitz get it on Ben Weiner Drive in Uptown. That's a 2:30 kickoff from East Carolina. It's on ESPNU. Tomorrow night, the Mac Daddy of them all, one of the biggest games, and a lot of history involved in this. Last CBS primetime SEC game. Last CBS primetime SEC game, maybe their last primetime game, period. They've got the 2:30 thing still locked up, but that's for Big 10 games, Big 12. They're out of the SEC business. It goes to ESPN next year. No Gary Danielson anymore doing SEC. He'll be missed. So last CBS game, last primetime CBS game. Maybe Nick Saban's last game at Alabama. I don't think so, but maybe 72. He's not, I don't see Saban going, this is my last year, and having like a, plaque handed to him before every game, all that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't see Saban having a farewell tour. I see Saban just out of the blue retiring. But I don't know. I don't see anything that says he's going to go this year. But then again, I think that's how he'll do it. He'll go out on top. But he still seems to have a lot of fire, and he's got a really good life, and he's got unlimited cash, basically, and multiple homes, and his wife and him seem happy, and I don't know what he would do. He's that type of personality. Nick Saban's not an affable guy. Nick Saban's not a lot of big friend guy. Nick Saban's football, 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 football. Doesn't smile a lot, doesn't joke a lot, doesn't have a lot of other hobbies. Football, football, football. You better win, man. My God, you're singularly focused on football. The biggest game of the college football season. I mentioned it earlier in the week, and some sports journalist did the background on it. I said for the last 15 years, the biggest college football game, the most coveted, the most important, national championship implications, year in, year out, on average, overall, it's not in college football. And again, this season, it appears to be true. I think someone did the last 16 years, and 12 times it was either national championship game for the winner or playoffs. 12 times the winner of LSU-Alabama the last 16 years. Most of it's been Alabama, but LSU a few times. So proven right exactly what I was saying. Not that it was a big statement. It was like, where's the number 2 game? I mean, every year you might have a game, or every other year, or every few years in a row even, a game that's bigger than LSU-Alabama. I'm not saying that. But year in, year out, overall, last 15, this guy proved it, 16 seasons. This is the premier game. This season's no different. Essentially, Alabama wins out, they're national champs. LSU wins out, they're national champs. Pretty much. Corey Johnson with you, a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Hey, did I mention the 5 o'clock whistle? I love it. A little bit after 5 o'clock on a Friday. The work week's done. The weekend is just starting. It's all in front of us. I like recognizing this time. I do it by blowing the 5 o'clock whistle. I don't blow the 5 o'clock whistle. We blow the 5 o'clock whistle. That 5 o'clock whistle appropriately brought to you by Katie's in Mid-City, the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. What a great Friday wind down spot. Family with the kids, no problem. College guys want to check out the game, no problem. Big screen TVs everywhere, but it's not a sports bar. It's the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant, a true taste of New Orleans. More is better, more of the good things. Big portions, great for sharing. More flat screen TVs. Check out the Wave. Check out the Tigers. Check out the Saints. Check out the Pelicans. College football, NFL, NBA. It's all there for you. Katie's in Mid-City. 5 o'clock whistle brought to you by Katie's in Mid-City. Appropriately. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Frank Brigtsen joins us next from his Uptown restaurant. No, a full slate, like I told you. Tulane, East Carolina, Alabama, LSU, Saints in the Dome taking on the Bears at noon on Sunday. Monday night, you got Kim Mulkey's number 1 ranked LSU Lady Tigers on TNT, taking on 20th ranked Colorado from some ladies tournament in Las Vegas. Prime time, nationwide TV audience. Wow. Kim Mulkey vaulting the LSU Lady Tigers not only to the national championship, Jay Johnson's baseball team won the national championship too. Kim Mulkey's Lady Tigers are the number 2 sport in Baton Rouge. Football's number 1, ladies basketball number 2, baseball's 3 for now. Men's basketball might get going and give baseball a run for its money, which it should. Baseball should be behind basketball at a major college. But ladies hoops, it's like Tennessee. It's like the number 2 sport. Amazing. No, Kim Mulkey talking about amazing. Corey Johnson with you on a Friday. Holiday season's right around the corner, guys. Thanksgiving in a few weeks. After that, it's Christmas and holiday season. Real natural diamonds at Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. Go see Ken Friend. You got a friend in the jewelry business. Real natural diamonds. Friend & Company Fine Jewelers on Maple Street in Uptown.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet. Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old on the streetcar line. Lebanon's Cafe. Young's Dry Cleaning with 2 walk-up locations. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" Engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place. So I got him to my hour. He had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Served in New Orleans' finest restaurants, Leidenheimer French bread. Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a Friday afternoon, a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. The weekend has begun. You know they're doing it right at Brigtsens in Uptown. Dante Street, right off of Leak Avenue, a.k.a. River Road. Convenient parking at that Dante Center shopping center. You're like 50 feet away from the front door. 100-year-old Creole cottage. It's been Brigtsen's restaurant for nearly 40 years. Tough to beat Brigtsens in the Riverbend section of Uptown. James Beard award-winning chef Frank Brigtsen joins us on this Fantasy Friday edition of the program. My goodness, Frank, this weather, what an outstanding afternoon.
Yeah, what is it about Fridays with me and you, huh? Bluebird skies every single time. I love it.
Yep.
TGIF.
I was waiting for that. We don't get it going without that. How you doing, Frank? How you been?
Doing well, thank you.
Yep.
Enjoying the weather. Busy at the restaurant and serving up some good stuff, man.
I think we mentioned it last week, but if we didn't, or if we did, who cares? We'll mention it again, or it'll be the first time. Well, New York Times had top 25 New Orleans restaurants. Brigtsens was near the top of the list.
Yes, that was really sweet. I think that the article was best 25 restaurants to eat in New Orleans right now. So, you know, after 37 years, it's really nice to still be in the conversation and to be considered relevant. You know, I think what we do at Brigtsens, Corey, is maintain Creole culinary traditions. And that doesn't mean we're serving the same 5 dishes we did 37 years ago. It means we keep up the cooking techniques, featuring, local Louisiana seafood and other things.
And consistency, obviously, when you hit this 11 on a 1 to 10 scale of food quality and taste, you got to do it every time.
Well, that's the thing. You know, to be successful in our business, you have to do it every single night and every single plate.
Yep.
You know, and I tell my chefs, you know, whether they're making a salad, a dessert, an entree, whatever it might be, make this plate like it's for your mom, like it's for the Pope, like it's for Julia Childs. Make every single one, because you may put your hands on 100 plates a night, but the guest is only getting one.
Yep. I'm a nice guy, chef. I give people a second chance, but I'm also, I expect consistency. The restaurant will go nameless. I've been going back there again, but for about a year, I avoided them because about 3 out of 5 of my last meals there were unacceptable. And I was just like, why torture myself? I talked to them about it. They said they're sorry. I'd go back the next time, it'd be okay. The following time after that, it's like they forgot again. And I'm just like, why torture myself? When I finally went back a year later, they go, where have you been? I said, I'll tell you where I've been. I told them exactly the story. That's where I've been. What am I supposed to? I don't know. I guess if you're a thin-skinned chef or a restaurant owner, you can take offense to that and say, never come back. Or you can go, Corey's a pretty nice guy, pseudo-knowledgeable, at least not the most knowledgeable. He's not adult who doesn't know anything. maybe he has a point. You know, I'd want to know the critics. Corey, your show lately has been dull. You seem mad. You seem too happy. Whatever. I want to criticize. I want the criticism, Frank.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to listen to it, and sometimes it hurts. But you know, it's when you open the front door for your restaurant, or when you go on the air with your show, you're putting it out there. You're putting yourself out there.
Yep.
And you can't help but take it personal, but you also have to understand that it has a constructive element too. You know, if the soup's not hot enough, I want to know.
Yep.
We had that problem lately, and it was an equipment problem, so we fixed it. So, you know, you got to be cognizant and reasonable. You know,
I don't want to go to the.
I want to know. Yep. I don't want somebody to just pay the bill, walk out, and then go, you know, on Yelp or something and tear us a new one. You know, I want them to be reasonable too and let me know what happened so I can fix it.
The people that clean their plate and say it wasn't good and don't want to pay for it, those people are ridiculous. But if I get something to my table that isn't right, it isn't cooked to temperature, it isn't what I ordered, and I'm going to, you know, let the waiter know and get it right. I think that's only fair, right?
No, absolutely. You know, there's a dialogue there that has to happen, good or bad or critical or whatever it might be. There's a dialogue that has to happen, and that whole relationship has to be a healthy one to be successful. You want to make people happy.
Yep. Frank, you've been at it for nearly 40 years at Brigtsens, over 50 overall. You said, you know, you don't have the same 5 items on the menu, and that's true. But you do have to have some consistency. I go to Bayonne, I want that lamb loin. I want the appetizer shrimp with the, you know, coriander. I go to Irene's Cuisine, I expect the crab meat au gratin to be there, that chicken rosmarino with the olive oil and garlic, things like that. I mean, I go to Brigtsens, there better be some kick butt gumbo going down or some great soup that's sort of Louisiana-ish at the least, and trout or flounder or drum or some kind of fillet fish with pecans or amandine. 38 years. Is there anything on the menu that was on the menu day one? It's still on the menu today?
Well, butternut shrimp bisque has been there every day since we opened.
Wow.
That was one of my first original creations. And, you know, I've always loved soups, sauces too, but soups are my thing. And that was one that I had in my head, and I made it, and it's been a very successful ever since. You know, if somebody's coming to Brigtsens for the first time and says, "What should I get?" I said, "Is this your first time?" "Yeah. Your first taste should be butternut shrimp bisque, and then you'll understand Brigtsens."
What is butternut shrimp bisque?
Well, it's the ingredients are fairly simple. It's peeled, diced butternut squash, onions, shrimp and shrimp stock, and cream. And, you know, there's, you know, with a simple recipe like that or simple ingredients, the technique is important. We cook the onions and squash down first until the squash gets mushy and soft, because it's going to get pureed, and hopefully a little browning in the bottom of the pot. And then add the shrimp and shrimp stock and let it reduce, and then add cream and puree the whole thing. And it's just one of those, well, it actually came from something we did at K. Paul's, which is not surprising. We had made a trip to California, which we did every year for Wolfgang Puck's March of Dimes fundraiser. We cooked at Spago. And, I mean, walking in Wolfgang's walk-in cooler back then was amazing. We found things that we had never seen before. I mean, at the time, red bell peppers were not a common thing, for instance. But he bought from Chino Farms out there, all local vegetables, lettuces, the whole works. And he had all these different squashes, butternut squash, delicata squash. You know, we started playing with them. Chef brought some in from California, and we started experimenting with them, and we developed this sauce for veal that was like a veal demi-glace, but with butternut squash cooked in it. And then we cooked it down, strained it, and sauteed shrimp. Added that to make a butternut shrimp sauce for veal. And it was so amazingly good. I said, I want to make a soup out of this. So that's what I did.
What made you think the squash and the shrimp would be a good combo?
Well, when I tasted that original sauce at K. Paul's, I realized that it really worked. You know, there's certain flavor combinations that click, like peanut butter and jelly. And that was one of them. And so I don't use veal stock or anything like that, but I felt those flavors really worked.
Well, I know you say it so simply too, but I've never heard of squash and shrimp soup or squash and shrimp bisque anywhere on the planet except at your place.
That's right. And it's very unique in that way. And of course it's a hard squash. It's not like yellow squash or anything like that. But that's one dish. The blackened tuna that we do with smoked corn sauce has been on since close to opening time. And that served blackened tuna steak with smoked corn sauce, a chipotle black bean salsa, and drizzled with roasted red pepper sour cream. That dish is just as exciting today as it was 35, 36 years ago.
What about the fresh Gulf fish pecan? That's usually...
Yeah, that's another one.
That's 35 plus years, right?
Yeah, that was one of my goals when I opened Brigtsens, Corey, was I want to make my version of Meunier. Of all the great Meuniers I've had in my life growing up here, I took what I thought were the best elements of all of them and then created my own version. And it is totally unique. I don't know of another one like this. But it starts with the classic French browned butter. You make this, first of all, you make the sauce to order in the skillet where you cook the fish so that you get those little browned bits of flour. That's Meunier to me. So when we get to that point, we add butter and make a browned butter. I mean, it's dark brown, has a nutty aroma and taste. And then I very quickly add roasted pecans, green onions, garlic, seasoning. Cook that a few seconds to let the flavors marry. And then it takes a definite New Orleans turn. I add a healthy dose of Worcestershire sauce. Let that reduce to a syrup. And then I build the sauce up with crab stock, lemon, and then it's emulsified with more butter. So it's not a roux-based Meunier. It's made to order, which I think is essential. I mean, I've had a lot of good roux-based ones too, but this was my creation, and it's still, the way we do it, and it's something that people identify Brigtsens for.
Frank Brigtsen's with us for a couple of more minutes from his restaurant. Hey, Frank, do these sauces? Hey, buddy, how you doing? I hear you.
Stella.
Yep, humanela.org if you want to donate. Like the sauces that you come up with, say like that Meunier, or that like wine kind of driven demi-glace for like that filet you have.
Oh, the Marchand du Vin.
Yeah. Like, do you go, I want it thick, I want it thin? It naturally comes out that way, and that's how it is. How does that work?
Well, to me, it's something, whether it's an emulsified sauce or a roux-based sauce, what I'm looking for is what I call sauce consistency. And that means it will coat the back of a spoon. So if you dip a spoon in there and run your finger on the spoon, it should leave a line. And the reason for that is so that the sauce will adhere to the protein, whatever you're making, fish or meat.
Yep.
And also be really, really extra good with that crispy Leidenheimer French bread.
But different sauces, I'm guessing, you're parting the Red Sea, it's going to come back quicker and crush the Roman certain sauces than others, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that filet sauce, you run your fork through that with a bite of filet. You can eat the filet, chew it. Oh gosh, this is so good. Look down on your plate, and the sauce is slowly coming back together into the middle of the plate. It's like it takes 10 or 20 seconds. The Meunier, it's a little quicker.
Yes, that's right. And that's the difference between a roux-based sauce and an emulsified sauce. The Marchand has a blonde roux, which gives it a little body, and that's why it does that. And it really, each bite will have a sufficient amount of sauce on it.
Frank, 2 questions before we let you go. I know Marn is like, it's 4:34, Corey. He's supposed to be on the line already. 2 questions. Give us something good you're cooking tonight, 1 or 2 items. And are there any openings tonight or tomorrow night at Brigtsens?
Well, let's start with the second one. We are, busy, but I can tell you every night this week we've had last-minute cancellations. So don't hesitate to call the restaurant. Marna's on the phone tonight. We had a 6-top last night cancel at the last minute. So we had an empty table right there in the middle of the dining room. So don't hesitate to call at the last minute, even if we're busy.
Now, I always tell folks, Frank, when you have your regular spot that you can go to, it's your friendly neighborhood joint. There's always a table for you. And that's what you're planning on doing. Call Brigtsens before you're going to that friendly spot. And you never know. Brigtsens might go, we got an opening right now. And then you go to the friendly spot whenever you want. You hit Brigtsens because they had a cancellation. I always like doing that gimmick, calling when I have another place planned that's sort of a B place, and I'm going to go to the A place if they have an opening.
I agree. And I think that's a really smart way to dine out because you just never know. Reservations in any restaurant are very fluid.
Yep.
And so you just never know. And then what's really happening right now, I'm trying to feature crab meat before the winter sets in. So what's really happening right now is our seafood platter, Corey. We have crab meat a couple of different ways in there, but we have on the seafood platter grilled redfish with pesto crab sauce, and that's made with a pesto compound butter and a little crab stock. And then also on there is a chilled crab meat dish called crab meat creolaise, which is crab meat folded into a mustard sauce, and that's served on a slice of tomato. And then also on the seafood platter, we have artichoke baked oyster, baked scallops in a half shell with herb scent cream spinach, and shrimp cornbread with jalapeno smoked corn butter. And when you get that dish, you're probably not going to be talking to your neighbors anymore. You're going to just dive in and explore all this good stuff, man, because it's that kind of dish.
You heard Frank. It's all fried. It's all stacked on top of each other. It's a foot high. It all tastes the same because he's using the same oil. It's heavy. It's the seafood platter at Brigtsen. Not a thing you mentioned is fried. Not there's no seafood platter anywhere that has nothing fried on it except Brigtsens.
That's what we do.
I got a name for it.
What is it?
You already named it. The Shell Beach Diet, I think, is what you call it.
Yeah, and this time of year, I also call it Seafood Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it really is. And nothing fried and outstanding. Just tough to beat, that seafood platter.
Very unique.
Frank, always a pleasure. It is. It's very unique.
Thank you, Corey. Always enjoy it. Y'all have a lovely weekend. Have fun, eat well, and take care of each other.
That's Frank Brigtsen. 861-7610's the phone number at Brigtsens. 861-7610. Call up Marna. See if you can get in tonight or tomorrow night. Or before you go to your go-to place, call Brigtsens tonight. Maybe they had a cancellation. 861-7610 Brigtsens in the Riverbend. So good. And Frank, just such a, ridiculously accomplished guy who is just insanely humble. Just refreshing. Corey Johnson with you on a Friday afternoon. Yeah, you right. Hey, maybe you're running air conditioning over the weekend. Maybe you're running heat. Seriously, you might run heat overnight, especially on the North Shore. It's going to get into the 50s. It'll get down to like 60 on the South Shore. You might be running heat. And then all of a sudden you don't have the unit on. And then all of a sudden it gets to 75 during the day and you've got the air conditioning going again. Air conditioning, heat, if they're not working right, the unit's making a funny noise, not working like they worked last week, last season, or worse, not working at all, don't stress out. You call Fair and Honest Lucas and the boys at River City's Total Maintenance. They're honest. You don't have to worry about getting screwed around. They're air conditioning and heating experts. They'll diagnose it right away the first time. And speaking of right away, they know if your unit's broken or not working at all, that you're inconvenienced. So they come immediately. Honest AC and heating experts come immediately. What more do you need? Nothing. Just River City's Total Maintenance. Find them online at NOLAAC.com. Air conditioning or heat help? NOLAAC.com.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
You're listening to The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson.
Cotton Bowl winning coach Willie Fritz joining us on the program. Have you ever been part of a game that great?
A lot of things happen in the game. You just don't know the script. You got to adapt and improvise. You just got to keep playing hard the whole time, and our guys did an excellent job of that.
How big is yesterday for the overall future of the program?
You got to have the guys who really have a burning desire to get quality education and also be a great football player. You got to have focus.
You've always have embraced New Orleans. You've been a great ambassador for the city, for Tulane University.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. My wife and I just love it here in New Orleans. And just everybody, the city's just sensational. It's a dime for a person who came up to me after the game. I had tickets in the old Tulane Stadium. And, I've heard that a ton of times. And then, that's good that we were able to make some people happy.
That's Willie Fritz joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Roll wave.
The spirit of New Orleans. It's Corey Johnson on The Neutral Ground.
River City's Total Maintenance keeps you cool. River City's Total Maintenance keeps you cool. River City's Total Maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's Total Maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at y'all on a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Winding down the program in style this afternoon. Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. joins us again on the program. This segment always brought to you by Latrim. What's up, Miguel?
More than how do we do, Corey?
It's what?
More than how did you got?
I don't speak Spanish.
You should know that from your Swedish.
I don't speak Spanish.
No es español.
Yeah. What were you saying, Michael, in some Scandinavian land language?
I was asking how you're doing today.
Oh, what would be a response in some Scandinavian language for like doing great?
Yeah, how's it got?
Yeah, how's it got, Miguel?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm a mix a little Scandinavian and Spanish to show my diversity.
You are a very sophisticated individual in a very kind of accessible way.
Yep.
You're not highbrow. You're cosmopolitan.
Hey, Michael, I went to the Port of New Orleans little brunch this morning. Governor John Bel Edwards was there talking about the port. We've discussed this before. You invest in a port in New Orleans, in Louisiana. Every dollar you invest, you get $5 back. That's been kind of the common knowledge thing for a long, long time. I thought about John Bel Edwards, his 8 years coming to an end. Governor-elect Landry is coming in. What did you think about his transition team and these 14 transition councils? One of them was focused exclusively on the city of New Orleans. Got to get it running more like a Charleston or Nashville. I kind of liked that approach more so than like what he would use to get elected. Like it's a crime zone. And then I liked the mayor saying, we could have a cooperative endeavor kind of thing instead of being critical of it. So far, so good.
I agree. I'm actually on the New Orleans committee, which I'm actually glad that I'm on that instead of the Economic Development Committee, because, the economic development stuff, I'm going to be able to have some say in that anyway. But the New Orleans one, I do think it's a recognition that New Orleans not only does it have special challenges, but it actually has got special importance, right? As New Orleans goes, so goes the state for so many economic and cultural reasons. And I think that Jeff Landry early is going to be a change agent, and I don't think that that's half bad. So I'm energized, frankly, and I think a lot of people who I talk to, including people on the Democrat side, share that kind of excitement about the possibility for change and maybe for breaking a few things that need to be broken.
I remember, not trying to be cynical, I remember the Edwin Edwards, David Dork race in 91. And Edwin Edwards is in uptown New Orleans with all these white conservatives. I'm a different man. I've changed. It looked good. It sounded good, but nothing changed. The Republicans have everything they want, Michael. They control the state. They control the Senate and the 105 House reps. 70 something of them are Republican, 28 of 39 senators. You got the most powerful two Republicans in the United States in DC, both from Louisiana. I mean, I'm hoping the needle moves, but I'm more worried about losing a Final Four or a Super Bowl because of some LGBTQ nonsense or anti-gay something or the definition of family. One of these things that doesn't help infrastructure, put money in my pocket, education, crime. That's what I'm looking at. What do you think?
Well, the good news is that there's been very little of that talk so far and much more talk on fundamentals. I've heard a lot of talk about looking at those ways where Louisiana is an outlier, like, for example, in some of our insurance laws and fixing those. There is going to be a special session, I believe, on crime. And so, I'm a little bit, wary about what or how comes out of that. But I think that in general, there just seems to be, people are pleased with the composition and the leadership of a lot of these councils. And look, I mean, obviously, Jeff Landry hit a chord because he basically swept it in the first round, something that I don't think even his own people are expecting.
Nope.
Whatever he's selling, folks are buying it in bunches, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And I think the mayor responded appropriately.
I'm glad she didn't take it as like a criticism. Hey, Michael, the NOLA Coalition, one of the reasons you guys started this was to help kids in need in New Orleans, impactful organizations and services throughout the metro area that are gonna help kids, literally, not just talk. Talk about what the NOLA Coalition's done. You have a year one grant report on what's happening with the youth initiatives?
Yeah, so we said that when we started, there was a dual plank. One plank was going to be public safety today. The second one was going to be investing in our kids for tomorrow. So the first plank led to things like doubling the salary for the police chief, which is one of the reasons we got Chief Kirkpatrick. But the second side, we've raised about $6 million so far of the 15. And this is a report on the first $2.3 million that we gave out earlier this year. And we wanted to report on it, not just because it's interesting to learn about how the money was spent on 27 nonprofits and went to 5,300 kids. We also want to demonstrate the responsible way you give out money. We don't just give it out, you have to report on it to demonstrate it's been used well. And we kind of wanted to model that type of responsible granting to the community as well. So folks can go on to the NOLA Coalition website, which is nolacoalition.info. They can see the report. They can read about each of the 27 nonprofits, how they were funded, what they used the money on, read about the demographics. And, I think it paints a story of, in a meaningful way, moving the needle a little bit for over 5,000 kids.
And also, anyone or any entity can join the NOLA Coalition, right?
Yeah, the more the merrier. We're up over 550 now, and you can go and join on the website. And the latest thing that we're doing is there's a $7 million deal that JP Morrell and the council put together. So we're going to help as many of our NOLA Coalition members apply for and get that funding as possible. Because, again, it's our goal to get funding for, these outstanding organizations. Some of them are ones you've heard of, like Son of a Saint or Youth Empowerment Project. And some of them are new organizations serving neighborhoods or communities that have kind of been ignored. So, go to nolacoalition.info and we're trying to be super transparent, so it's all right up there.
Michael, sometimes after a meal at Trey Yen, I'm beelining across the causeway, and I'm like, I wish there was a big hook just hooked on my car and a rail that it could drive my car. I could sleep or do some work instead of having to drive the 24 miles across the bridge. I don't know about getting to the North Shore by train, but I might be able to take a nap or do work, maybe an hour and a half, downtown New Orleans to downtown Baton Rouge, a few stops on the way, train service coming back, maybe in about 3 or 4 years?
And man, I'll tell you, it's been a long time coming. It's still going slower than I would like or expect. But there was a deal signed with Amtrak by the governor for them to provide the service. We're applying for a $200 million grant to rebuild the Casey Southern line, including $80 million for the rail that goes over the Bonnet Carry, where now you got to go 10 miles an hour. But I think at some time, if we take care of ourselves within our lifetime, you're going to be able to get on a train in downtown New Orleans and get off in downtown Baton Rouge with stops in between. And that's going to save, work time. It's going to be safer. It's going to provide an evacuation route. And it means when you go up there, come down here for a game, you're going to be able to responsibly indulge. So, we're going to keep pushing forward. It's not high-speed rail. It's not light rail. It's just rail. I think the train is eventually coming.
It's 70, 80 miles an hour, something like that.
Yeah. And then look, to me, the key thing, Corey, is not, how fast it goes, but if it's frequent enough and it's reliable, I'll take it. If it's an hour and a half, and I know I can get on a train at 8 in the morning and arrive at 9:30, and I can do work the whole way up or make phone calls, I'll take it, and get it on the way back down. I mean, because when you're driving on that road today, there's some chance it'll take you an hour and 15 minutes. Some chance it'll take you 2.5 hours. You never know.
Yeah, Baton Rouge has some of the worst traffic in America. Rails obviously don't have traffic. That's going west. If that's successful, there'll be more of it. And then maybe even a train going east. I mean, maybe Mobile, Alabama is the next destination.
Well, I think Mobile, that one's happening sooner. That was christened a few weeks ago. I think it might be by next year that the Mobile, New Orleans line's coming back. I think they're calling it the Mardi Gras Express. So that's happening. It's all starting to piece together again, bit by bit.
No, I mean, that'll be like people taking it maybe to the beach, even going into the panhandle of Florida eventually. Who knows?
That's the deal. I mean, look, if I could take the train from New Orleans and end up in the panhandle, I'll have to deal with, that traffic, and I could read or work or, get an early start on my margaritas. I'm all about efficient drinking.
Hey, Michael, I want some roof money to fortify my roof.
Well, I think that it's there for you. There is a new program that's coming out that's going to give, I think it's up to $10,000 for Louisianians if you want to fortify your roof. And the good thing is that if you do this, you put a new roof on and get it fortified, it'll cost you a little bit more, but these grants are going to be available. And then it'll save you about 10% on your insurance. And so,
what if you already have a new roof? Can they fortify it?
I don't think so. I think, unfortunately, you cannot retrofit a roof because it basically has to do with the way it's lashed down.
I got you. And then it's like the Florida law rules, kind of Hurricane Florida, 140 mile an hour winds, the strap downs, all that kind of stuff.
Precisely. And look, it's one of the things that we're really going to have to do because, we're going to go to London in a couple of weeks and talk to Lloyd's of London and talk about getting the insurance down. But in the meanwhile, there are things that we can do, and fortifying our roofs is one of them. Actually, the biggest challenge right now is not getting the money because this program exists now to fortify your roofs. You can Google it, Louisiana Fortified Roofs. The issue now is that we need more technicians coming out of Delgado and Nunez and Louisville Parish's Community College to help us with putting the roofs in. So, I got a roof put in about 2 months ago. We had ours for about 20 years. It was time. And I was going to do the fortified roof so that I'm eating my own dog food. But the guy said, I can either do your new roof now or you can wait 3 months to fortify it. And I said, well, if I wait that much time, I'm going to waste it.
No, I'm with you.
Corey at the Trey Yen. So
that's exactly right.
Need more technicians, right?
No tongue show sauce at Trey Yen if you wait on the roof. No, I just got a post-Ida roof about a year ago in my house. That's why I was asking about if they can, retrofit an existing. No big deal. Hey, we've got one wind farm. German company's got the contract off of Lake Charles. Now Louisiana's getting another wind farm, right?
Yeah, well, there are 4 more tracks that they've now said are going to be up for lease in the Gulf. 3 of them are actually off the coast of Texas. One is closer to Lake Charles. But they're continuing to basically legislate that the Gulf is going to be open for wind. And it's going to take some time. but eventually it'll happen. But meanwhile, the bigger opportunity for us in Louisiana is us being the engineers and manufacturers and servicer of wind on the Atlantic coast. That's hit a couple of speed bumps recently because of inflation, but we're going to get wind on the Gulf, and I think it's going to be companies operating out of Port Fourchon who are going to be building a lot of those vessels and a lot of those windmills. And, that's from an economic standpoint, that's actually going to be the most important thing for us.
Hey, Michael, we got about 15 seconds. I went to that Troy Henry press conference, the lease signing. I guess they're moving at Six Flags finally.
Corey, I know there's a lot of skepticism out there, and I get it, but just on surface, it makes sense. I mean, the old Six Flags was actually making money before Katrina. They were going to put a water park into it because that was going to make them more money. It's the right location, right thing, and I wish Troy Henry Godspeed.
No, exactly, and $500 million too. Michael Hecht, great weekend. See you next week.
Who that, man? I'm going to the game this weekend.
Nice. Go Saints, Tulane, Tigers, Pels. Corey Johnson with you. See you Monday, New Orleans.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 6 p.m.